all the way saying the Lynch brought me here. Definitely subscribing. I appreciate that. You should subscribe. I mean, Kevin's the reason here too. We're making this happen. Man. He's been killing it as well. So I know we got more than a couple people in the chat. So if you guys have any questions, just leave them in there. We'll get to them. But we got a lot to talk about. Let's talk some more boxing. Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia. Obviously, one of the talking points is the car accident. What do you think about this fight? I think it's one of the better boxing fights this year in terms of the name value and all that. What are you looking at? Just storyline wise heading in. What are some things we should be focusing on it for a guy like me?
If I could stand on top of a mountain and just go to the highest peak of whichever the highest mountain is and just yell out who the best welterweight is, which I've been doing for the last 4 years, it's Errol Spence, bro. Mm-hmm. He is the best welterweight in the world, period. Mm-hmm. I don't doubt it for a second, and the accident happened, and it's another guy who I've known for a long time, known him for a while now, and he, I feel like this accident, I compare how he was before this and how he is now. He's less accessible. Everything's tight knit. Everything is, he looks laser focused, and he looks like he's shifted. How some guys are like, yeah, man, I just got to a point in my life where I got to change it doesn't even look like, it feels like a natural transition for him into this next period of his life. He's 27, 28 years old. And I feel like he knows that this is his second chance, but also he knows that this is the next level for him in his life, and that this has to be a statement win. So, and I watched the countdown, and Coach Derek, his trainer, who should have been coach. Was he coach of the year? Trainer of the year? I believe he was trainer of the year.
He was up there. Yeah, no, I remember that.
He was trainer of last year. Last year he was trainer of the year. Ring Magazine trainer of the year. So I just see how they're moving it. I've been in camps with them before. I've spent quite a lot of time with them actually out there in Dallas. Another place where Dallas seems to be having a lot of fighters. We just talked about the MMA guys. Now we're talking boxing. Interesting, but yeah, I just see them looking very, very, very focused. He looks in tremendous shape, and Danny Garcia is not a guy to take lightly, and he is a top. To me, he is a top 5 welterweight in the world. You could argue top 3, top 4, definitely top 5. So in the former 2 division world champion, and he had almost all the belts at 140, I believe, and he's had all the belts and he's had 2 belts at 147, and he's lost to other top guys only. So, he's lost to, I believe, Keith Thurman and who is it? Sean Porter. Double check who that is, whose losses are to.
Now, if you got it.
But, it was Porter. He lost to Porter and he lost to Thurman. Correct. So those are the 2 guys he lost to. So those other 2 guys are top welterweight guys too. They're in the top 5. So he's not a guy to take lightly. Very interesting matchup, and I just feel that Earl comes out with the win, but in tremendous fashion.
Any chance of an upset?
Yeah, there's always a chance for an upset when you talk about a guy who who has power in both hands. Is durable. He's been in big fights. He knows how to conduct himself in big fights. But it really comes down to who can implement their game plan better. And I see Earl going to the body. I just see him, that's what he does, and he's just, you got to get him off of you. How the fuck do you get this guy off of you? He's on you, and he's following you, and he's cutting you off, and Danny can trade and bang. He could fight like that. He could box also. But again, it comes down to who's better at where, and I feel like Earl is better at both. at both places.
Very well said. We got C Hendo in the chat. Yo, we love the support, guys. We're gonna put all these messages.
Hey, that guy right there, man. That's a legend right there, man. First of all, he has all the sneaker plugs, and he knows all of the NBA guys. I'm talking about. I mean, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. I don't know. He knows all of them, man. Victor Oladipo. He knows all of them, man. So shout out to that man Hendo right there.
Okay. Love the feedback. Also, 90s Kid, we got your question about Nick Diaz. We'll get to that later. We're going to be talking about the Diaz brothers in a little bit, but we got another Garcia and Spence Jr. question. Why is it flying under the radar? Why do you think that is?
I don't think it's flying under the radar. I just think that there's a lot of things going on at the same time. There's a lot of sports happening all at once, and it's all piled up and condensed. And like every week, it's some big fight or a big sport event or NFL game or college football or everything. And then on top of that, you throw all the other fights. So there's a lot going on in a condensed amount of time. And yeah, but I still think it's gonna do great. Saturday, I think that it'll do good numbers. Let's check the card. Check what the full card is. I'm not sure what let's see what that card looks like actually.
Yeah, so I got it up here, I think. Let me just see the full thing there. See, I wish BoxRec was like Tapology where you can actually click on. Oh yeah, you can. Hold on one second. I think so. Let me just double check here. Trying to find the full card here. Let me just Google
because I've heard nothing about the other fights on the card. So
no, me neither. And so
that will
let me just double check here. We got it coming up. Let's see here. Good old ESPN's got the card on here. So yeah, you've got Errol Spence and Garcia, 12 rounds, obviously for the IBF and WBC. You got Sebastian Fedora taking on Jorge Cota, 12 rounds, junior middleweights.
Okay.
You've got a TBA against Eduardo Ramirez, 12 rounds. Josiso, let me try. We're going to try something here today. This may or may not work, but I'm going to try it out anyways. Let me see if I can bring the actual card up here so people can see what we're talking about. Let me try this. I've done this before in StreamYard, and then sometimes it goes a little crazy, but we will try this right now. I'm going to try and share my screen.
So some of those names you said on there, those are okay. Yeah, you pulled it up.
It's doing that thing where it goes a little crazy. I don't know why that happens on my thing, but okay, we got it there now. So you can see it there. You see the full card? Let me zoom in.
Coda.
So we got Garcia, Fedora, Cota, Ramirez against an opponent, Lopez and Santana, Flores and Aguilar.
So, it's not a stat card at all, but it's like if these are some people, if you know boxing and you really, really watch it, then you'll know who some of these guys are. But yeah, it's not a stat card. So it's really, for boxing fans, it's a stack card, especially in the lower weights. But not really. In hindsight, it's not. So,
isn't that kind of anyways like boxing anyhow, where they kind of just like they're more focused on the main. Like MMA does a better job, I think, of that.
Yeah, but like you just saw the Tyson card, right? So that was more interesting than this card was. Is just because there's a lot of fighters, and they try to separate all the fighters or whatnot and put them on different cards, but I think sometimes it's also good to stack those cards with like mixed martial arts, like UFC does.
Well, it's a little bit easier for the UFC too, because they have fighters under one banner. It's easier to put together. With boxers, like I said, it's sort of the big names kind of put everything together, and then that's sort of how it comes to fruition as well. And by the way, the question earlier about still up here is about why is it flying under the radar. I think there's such a thing as fatigue. Like I remember when Khabib and Gaethje fought, and in MMA, that's all everyone was talking about after. And I felt bad. I can't even remember what cards were after that, but it's like, you still got to recover from that. We're still recovering from Tyson, right? So I think that's also why you're not seeing a lot of it. And who knows, as we get closer, maybe it ramps up a little bit, but I think it's one of those things where there's so much going on, like you said.
It's fight week. The fight is on Saturday. So weigh-ins, today's what? Press day. Tomorrow is open workouts or something, and then Friday's weigh-ins, and then Saturday's the fight. So, so I talked with the Cowboys over the weekend. The organization of Dallas Cowboys, where AT&T Stadium is where the fight is taking place, and this is just how crazy times is. So, on one side, you have the fight taking place with 15,000 fans capacity able to be there. which sounds absolutely crazy to the rest of the country because they're like, what, 15,000 people in a place? But they don't know Texas moves at the beat of its own drum. And the other part, it's so crazy that they're not used to having to cut down to 15,000 capacity. They're used to more so 40, 50,000 capacity for a boxing event or a mixed martial arts event over there. Boxing event is what they usually have. And Errol Spence, the last time he did AT&T Stadium, he did about, I believe, 40,000, 41,000, or something of that nature. 48,000. There you go, Taylor, with the fact check right there. So 15,000 is like, that's not, they're like, so they want to sell every single ticket. I was calling them because, I call, say, hey guys, where are my tickets for my fighters? We're trying to attend the fight. And they're like, yo, Kev, it's, we only got 15,000 people and Fox is the one handling these tickets and handling this for the fight.
Right.
So, because they got to recuperate every dollar they spend because, Earl getting paid a lot of money now, you know what I'm saying? So, it's a big fight. Both of those guys are getting paid millions of dollars. So, you between that and the marketing, you got to be able to recuperate, not just from the pay-per-view. I think because we just talked about, do we think they're going to do good numbers? I think they'll do all right numbers. I think it'll be decent numbers. I think it'll be good for what it is. But if they want to do better numbers than that, they should have just stacked the card a little bit more than that to be able to really do the numbers that he could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so decent number, in my opinion, would be, I think if he does 350, 300, I think if he does 350, I think that's good for what it is.
I think so. Yeah, I'm with you there. Sort of last question on this, then we'll move on. This fight would be played at high level chess, and timing would be key for both opponents. Danny Garcia has the edge in timing, so it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, that's what I like. I love the best thing about fighting, other than most sports, is like it is really a game of inches. Like anything can happen, right? So I mean, this is a high level fight. It's not like you're getting with some boxing fights and in MMA as well. You get fight where it's like you look at the odds and you're like, okay, come on, like what's going on here, right? But this is a close fight, right? So
it's a good observation, but it's a good observation you've made, but I wouldn't call it timing. I would say that Danny Garcia is a counter puncher, so which kind of you could confuse for timing, but which you need good timing to counter, But yeah, he's a counter puncher, so he would rather let you throw for him to counter that with a check right hook, a check left hook, which he loves to throw, or he knocks you out with a right hand hook or a left hand hook, but most of the time it's a left hook that he knocks you out with. So, Errol Spence, has credible speed and power, and he's just good everywhere, really.